Tillian B. When LRH was in his stateroom doing research, what in hell was he doing all that time? There was no internet, so he could not even do what passes for research in many circles today. He seems to have been alone a lot of the time. Why would people think he could do research in a room all by himself? Okay, well, before the internet, there's these things called libraries and books, and you might have heard of them. And people actually did research before the internet, believe it or not, by reading books. Okay, and I'll stop being a smartass. Hubbard did read books, I'm sure, when he was in his stateroom all by himself. But you actually bring a very, very, very good point. And I actually laughed when I read your question for the first time because it's a great point. He sat in a room on the Apollo, on his ship, and he twiddled around with an e-meter, and he held these cans, and he mentally jerked off for hours on end is what he did. And he thinks he came up with all these amazing discoveries from his own recollections from the distant past, right? And he somehow thought that he was, mentally or spiritually working his way through the traps and implants and horrible things that Scientology claims has been done to spiritual beings in the past. And he was working his way through the labyrinth of all these mental traps and whatnot, and spiritual traps that were holding all of us back and holding us all down, because he thought that he was somehow special and above all of those things, and he was being a pathfinder for the rest of us. So that's what he was doing in that room. Was he really doing that? No, I don't think so. But that's what he told himself he was doing. That's what he thought he was doing, and that's what he wrote. And so that's where his discoveries would come from, his discoveries, okay? So, yeah, so that's kind of what he was doing in that room all by himself for hours on end.